welcome back. Up next is BB with a Purpose, and we have very special guest, Paul Anomah-Kodieh. Let's take a look at his profile to find out who Paul is.
Meet Paul, the only blind anchor in Ghana, Africa, and perhaps even in the world. This extraordinary man is the fifth born to a humble family of 6 children. He was able to see, but after suffering from the measles at the age of 4, his vision slowly started disappearing. Attempts to help him regain his sight were ineffective. Life since that time hasn't been easy, but due to his sheer persistence, determination, and the backing of his wonderful family and friends, Paul has grown up and matured just as any able-bodied person would. Getting water from the well to wash his clothes and doing general chores around the house are also part of his everyday life. Paul's passion for journalism started at the Cape Coast University of Ghana, where he worked at the campus-owned student radio station. After graduating, Paul moved to Happy FM, but after his sports program was suspended, he decided it was time to conquer the world. Today, he is the presenter of E-Highlights, a program on ETV Ghana that summarizes the day's news items at 11 a.m. and again at 4:30 p.m. Most television viewers have described it as groundbreaking, and some have even called it the ninth wonder. But whichever way you want to see it, Paul is a master at what he does. Paul wants his story to be used as an inspiration for all visually impaired persons who are at a loss for what they want to do in life. His determination has shown us that a young blind man was able to defy all odds to get to the top of a broadcasting career, and that living with a disability is not an obstacle in life. Today, Paul is a source of hope to many Ghanaian youth out there. Call it a vision in progress or a story of hope, but whichever way you look at it, this is the story of Paul Anomah-Kodieh.
It doesn't matter your problem. One of the basic things that a visually impaired person is not supposed to be able to do is to read and even read the news. And yet God has given me an alternative to be able to read and read the news. So no matter what your problem is, just believe in God that yes, you can. You will be able to do it. Just be bold.
Paul is an inspiration to myself. He's my colleague as well, actually. So I'm very excited to be sitting next to him like I do every day at work. But Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Yes. Now, we've just seen your profile and how you're just amazing in all the work that you do. And how do you do it?
Well, it's the strength from God, grace from God that keeps me going. Yeah.
Yeah. And what sort of aspirations or what kind of hopes do you have for people out there that are, say, watching and are in the same condition with a disability that they're unable to see?
Well, what I would like them to know is that all is not yet lost. There's hope for everyone, and all is not lost. That if you are a visually challenged, or if you're a person with disability, it doesn't mean that is the end of it. There are a lot of things that you can do. And so what I would like them to know, or those who are like me to know, is that hope is still alive for everyone.
Yeah. And when you're presenting the news every day, how does it make you feel?
It makes me excited and it makes me humble because first of all, one of the basic things that a visually challenged person is supposed not to be able to do is to be able to read. But being able to read and going to the extent of reading the news, it makes me very excited. And when people watch and say, oh, God is wonderful, then it makes me much more excited. And makes me also humble that God has chosen me to do such a thing.
Yeah, and is it easy reading on the news every day?
Well, it's not easy, especially reading with a braille. It doesn't go very fast. It isn't like using print to read. Your hand or your finger has to touch every word or every letter before you will be able to mention or pronounce. And it makes it a bit slow, your hand just moving like that, just one finger to touch everything before you are able to mention it. It makes it generally slow, but it's not easy, but I've been doing my best.
Now, Paul, I know before you got the Braille, you were relying a lot on people reading to you before you typed and stuff. Was there ever a time where you just felt, like you were overburdening people, that you didn't really want to be asking for stuff all the time?
Oh yes, a lot of times during school days, and even before I got my current machine that I'm using. Sometimes you feel like you are bothering somebody. Somebody may be doing something and, excuse me, can you help me? But the person too is doing something else. So what should the person do? And what I hate is just distracting somebody when somebody is doing something. So sometimes I just sit down for some time, try to look around or listen around if there's somebody who is not doing anything. And sometimes too, the person may not be doing anything actually, but the person may not feel like, I feel like reading to you now, probably just relaxing, or I don't feel like just reading to you, simple. But because the work needs to be done, then the person has to be forced to do it. And that is what I don't like, forcing somebody to do something for you.
Now, Paul, a lot of people that are also visually impaired wear glasses. I don't see you wearing any. Why did you decide not to?
Well, I have attended hospitals. They've given me glasses to wear. In order to improve my eyesight or anything. I've not seen anything of that sort. But it's simple. I just don't wear it. Not any special thing. But I feel I'm okay this way.
Why do certain people do that though? Just because they don't want people to see they're blind, or they don't want to see their eyes, or what would be the reason?
Well, some people do see a little, first of all, so they have medical glasses that some of them wear to enable them see a bit further than what they see. And others too just wear it just to cover it. Excuse me, some people, their eyes specifically, some may have problems with their eye. I know somebody whose one of the eyes did not even appear at all, just a flesh on that part of it. So in that case, you would have to cover it. I mean, when other people see it, they may not feel comfortable with it. And so some of them, you have to cover it in order to just look okay.
And now you've not always been blind though, right?
No.
When did it start? So you remember seeing a lot of stuff. What do you remember?
Well, I wasn't born blind, as I've said. It was around 4 or 5 that I suffered from measles, but it went gradually. And as of now, there's still something little left. So I do remember seeing certain things, like when the place is bright, white dresses, and if it's if it's a very bright place and it's red, black, white, and those major colors, I will be able to identify them.
So Paul, if someone says you're handsome, how do you respond to that?
Well, I'm grateful to God if I am. But handsome, or they say beauty, it may depend on somebody may see you as handsome, somebody may not see you as that. But if I am, I'm grateful to God. He made me that way.
You're on TV, so that's a good sign already. Now tell me, when you are going through all of this and you're on the news every single day, has there ever been a time where you were just like, why you? Why did God pick, you to be visually impaired? Why did this happen to you? Shall I say that? Yeah.
Yes. Why this happened to me? I sometimes feel, well, why should this happen to me? Because you feel there's something else that you could have done, but you are unable to do it just because you are visually challenged. And in that case, you feel, why can't I also do this or that? For instance, when I was about to complete my national service with this company, Global Media Alliance, I was initially taken to Happy FM. And when my service was almost coming to an end, I was virtually doing nothing, because the program that I was originally put on had been cancelled, and I had not gotten the opportunity of being with the TV to do more. And so my national service was coming to an end, and I was virtually redundant. So when it comes to an end, what will I do? And I knew that if I were not visually challenged by then, there were a lot that I could have done. So in that case, it made me very tensed, and I felt, well, why this way? So if I had not been taken on after my service and had left here because I was visually impaired, and so I was not getting a work that I knew probably I could have done, it would have been a very sad moment for me.
Now let's take a look. I did speak to your parents when I went over to your house, and they had a little something to say to you. So let's take a look at that.
Maniji pa maniji ankasa mame ya mitimu se minim se urade be ye me sei sade me bei etimi gina nipa dodo ye nim etimi ye na mitimu hu se yankopo ho ampa ti so wo kura no wasei a o ka nipa ho bi ye nsa nipa bia ye nipa
baby a wo chusu ye no ho no ye baby a no kwasem ema ye proud pa emi ye ni je bi se du ni time a so obeka news no a na ye rush say ye be kwa akohwe no.
They are so proud of you, Paul. Like, how does that make you feel, knowing your parents are so happy with what you're doing? And I understand also you do have a brother who's also blind. So how does that make you feel, knowing your parents are home every day watching you on TV and they're just like, that's our little Paul, we're so proud of him?
Yes, I must say I'm also so proud of my parents. And I always say that they are one of the most wonderful parents one will ever have in their life. I do say this because my parents are not very rich. They are just normal, just standard. And yet, as I always say, they squeeze water out of stone to take care of us. Two visually impaired persons. I mean, most parents could have abandoned us or could have said, you will not be anything in life, so let us concentrate on those who can see. And we are 7 in all.
Wow.
And at least my brother, who is also visually impaired, Peter, and I have completed university. So they did all that they can to make sure that we also have a comfortable life. I'm so proud of them. And I wish that parents who give birth to parents of persons with disability will also take care of their children that way. No matter how the person looks or the person is, God has created that person to come into the world to do something special. That is why God has brought the person into the world. He will not bring anybody into the world without giving him or her a purpose. So if you have a child who is disabled, it doesn't mean the person is enabled. Just make sure the person is educated and fixed into society, and he will do things that you will be so proud of.
Now, Paul, do you have a wife or a girlfriend?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't have a wife yet.
Girlfriend?
As I usually say, I'm loosely attached.
What? Loosely attached?
Yes.
Okay, I hope whoever is loosely attached out there. Wow, okay. All right, well, Paul, thank you so much for joining us here today. You've been an inspiration. Do you have any last thing to say?
Well, it's been a pleasure being on this great program, inspiring people all over the world. And as I always said, as I concluded, we should just be sure of what we have. Persons with disability, whether disability or not, everybody has a challenge one way or the other. So no matter what your problem is, just believe in God and be bold, whatever that you are doing, that you will be able to do is just be bold, and you will be able to do it.
Wow, thanks so much for all these inspirational words. I think a lot of people out there watching are so inspired right now. You're great. I'm telling you, this man, he's amazing. Anyways, let's take a break. We'll be back in a moment.